One of the questions I get asked the most is how do you actually make money if you're an actress? And honestly, I think a lot of people would be surprised by the answer. So just to preface everything, I work as a full-time actress now, and I've worked on several films and TV shows, so I have a better understanding of how everything works now. I'm originally from Europe. I moved to Los Angeles 4.5 years ago to pursue my dream. And in the beginning, I really had no idea how this industry worked. And now I have more experience. And if acting is something that you want to pursue, or you're just interested in how this industry works, this video is for you. Most people would think that you're only getting paid as an actress for doing films and TV and all of those things, which is obviously the priority. But I feel like there are so many more avenues that maybe not a lot of people know about. There's no magic formula. There's no right or wrong way to do things. These are some of the things that worked for me, but every journey is different. I think there's a lot of misconception about what it's like to be an actor. Most people think that you go to red carpets all the time and you're earning millions of dollars and you're constantly working, constantly filming. But the reality is a lot different than that. So the first misconception is that you get paid for auditions, and you don't. So a lot of what we do is actually free work. So let's say I have several self-tapes to record, several auditions to do. And of course, every film is different, so every character is gonna be different. For each audition, I'm gonna have different hair, different makeup. I'm gonna have to memorize several scenes, record it, edit it, and then send it back to the casting director, but we don't get paid for that. So even just memorizing parts of a script could be days of free work. And then comes the next hurdle. Sometimes they want several auditions. So let's say you do a self-tape first, and if they like that, they call you back for a callback audition when there's fewer people left in the group. And again, they're not paying for that. So there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes before you see any kind of paycheck or you're even booked on a job. Another misconception is that actors work all the time. And that's not the case. Even A-listers don't work all the time. You have projects that you're booked on, but in between those projects, you have some downtime. I do live with my husband, so we have 2 incomes, so that helps as well. But I didn't just start from being a full-time actress living in Los Angeles. When I first came to the US, I registered to all of these sites like Backstage, Casting Networks, Actors Access. And on these sites, you usually see a day rate or an hourly rate that they want to book you for. I did a lot of short films and student films that barely paid anything. $50 a day, $75 a day, maybe $100 a day, but it's definitely not enough to make a full-time living. It's hard not to lose faith when you're doing a lot of self-tapes, you're putting yourself out there, and they want to pay you like $100 for a project that you've given so much energy to, but that's how you can get started in this industry. And then I eventually moved on to films and TV shows and co-star roles and all of the things that helped me make more money. But that was the result of years and years of working. I also want to say that I have a very specific situation because I have a European agent and there are a lot of big Hollywood productions moving to Hungary because we have amazing film studios. So I've been really lucky in my career that I was able to book things in Hungary, which were American films and TV shows. Okay, so how do we actually get paid? I'm gonna give you guys a list of things that we can do and how we actually get paid for it. One of the most obvious things you can do is become a background actor. So that means you're gonna be on set, you're gonna be learning a lot of things, but it's not gonna pay you super well. You can also be a stand-in. So sometimes in bigger films and TV shows, they wanna test the lights on somebody who looks exactly like the main actor they've cast. And you're just gonna be standing there for 8 hours and you're gonna get paid. It actually pays better than being a background actor. Sometimes being a stand-in for a main actor can pay $500 per day, or sometimes even more. But it can also pay like $200 a day. So it really depends on the project. But at least if you're a background actor, you see the actual scenes. You can see all of the stars and how they act. So if you want to learn about it, that's the way to go. There are student films, short films, independent films, but of course you need some kind of experience, especially for short films and independent films. You can also do commercials, local, regional, corporate. Right now, they're doing a lot of social media commercials, and sometimes they can actually pay really well because they want to use the footage for years and years, so you're gonna get a bigger buyout. It's good to negotiate your rate because sometimes they only want to pay a daily rate, and they should be paying extra for using your likeness in perpetuity. You can also do voiceover acting, commercials, audiobooks, video games, corporate training videos, and voiceover works usually have nice paychecks. They're also doing a lot of internal company videos and educational videos. You're probably going to get a one-time daily rate for that, but sometimes it can be a nice addition to your monthly paycheck. Non-union jobs and union jobs are completely different. If you're in the union, you're going to get a very different paycheck than if you're a non-union actor. Union projects usually pay for things that non-union projects won't pay you for. Things like residuals, usage fees, overtime, meal penalties. You have access to higher paying jobs with standardized contracts, co-star roles, guest star, recurring, series regular. All of those will generally pay a lot higher than non-union jobs. So obviously the main goal for most actors is to get on a TV show or a big film so that production will provide a more substantial payment. So from a financial standpoint, it's a lot more worth it to be in the union than to be non-union. But professionally, it's only worth joining the union if you're already kind of like an established actor. Because otherwise, you're getting into a pool with a lot of big names and you're gonna go for the same auditions as those names. So yeah, I would say there's a good timing to everything. And getting into the union is also not that easy. If you guys are interested, I'm happy to make another video about that. I'm originally from Hungary, so I knew how the system works there. In Hungary, even bigger actors would have side hustles. In the beginning, it's just really hard to book things where the money is actually good. I think it's always nice to have a side hustle because then you're not putting so much emphasis on booking things and you don't feel desperate to book because you're doing your own thing, and if one thing hits, then amazing. But it's not like you're really dependent on that income alone. But it's also important to try to do something that allows you to do self-tapes in the meantime. So a lot of actors work in hospitality, or they utilize their skills like photography, videography, social media, because that gives them the flexibility when an audition is due in like 5 hours. And that happens a lot. But I'm not gonna lie, you have to be persistent in this industry. Of course, I had a lot of ups and downs. And not to mention that LA is one of the most expensive cities in the world. I think the biggest thing for me was staying motivated, even when you don't know when your next acting gig is coming. But I just stayed really consistent with self-tapes and doing as much as I can and then letting it go and see where it takes me. Because at the end of the day, there's only so much you can do. And a lot of the time, casting is very subjective. So you're never gonna know why you're getting a part or why you're not getting a part. It could be your height, it could be your look, it could be your accent, it could be the fact that you remind them of someone that they know. So there's a lot of unpredictability that goes into acting, but still I wouldn't change it for anything because I do love what I do. And when you end up booking something, it's so meaningful and it's just the best feeling in the world. It's still such an exciting industry. It gives you an amazing motivation for what could happen next. And that's actually one of the things that I love most about this industry is you never know what could happen next. You could end up booking a TV show, you could end up booking a film, you could end up working with the most amazing creative people. And I've been lucky enough to experience it a couple of times when everything just comes together. And I felt so magical and wonderful that that's what I get to do, which brings us to a very exciting news. One of the films that I shot last year is coming out soon and it's premiering at a festival in Los Angeles. So I'm going to be vlogging the entire thing from how I get ready to what it's like to have a premiere in Los Angeles to seeing myself on the big screen. That video is coming out next week. Be sure to check it out and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you get notified every time I upload a video. Thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!